Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Chris Marquardt.
Good evening. Welcome to the 212th episode of the 31st Lap. I'm Chris Marquardt, joining you here from FingerLakes1.com studios. We are all set to go with episode number 212. Big news out of Oswego regarding Super DIRT Week is that 2017 Super DIRT Week is going to be back at Oswego. That announcement came in the opening stages of Super DIRT Week, and the biggest party will return for the 46th running of Super DIRT Week next year, right back there at the Oswego Fairgrounds, or the Oswego Speedway in downtown Oswego. So everybody looking forward to that. Energy up there at this point unmatched. Currently, green flags are falling in Brewerton as they endeavor to complete the 24th annual Hurricane 100 for the 358 Modified Series over at the Brewerton Speedway. Super DIRT Week started with a bang. They had a huge parade through the center of the city of Oswego. Dirt Modifieds making their tour right through the center of downtown on their march to Oswego Speedway. It's been awesome energy so far. Everybody's loving it. We've already got qualifying results in. Hard to believe, I know, that Brett Hearn has locked in for both events. Tim McCready, he locked in for the 300-lapper on Sunday. Billy Dunn, he got his small block into the 150 on Saturday. We'll go through the whole schedule here soon, but it was Matt Shepard setting fast time for the Bud Light 300. So his modified is going to be on the pole for that Bud Light 300, and Tim Fuller setting fast time for the small block qualifying, driving a car with a spec engine, one of the W16 spec engines, a car that came from Merrittville Speedway. And that was impressive, but Fuller saying the track is slick, it's dusty, and it's going to come down to who's the best driver once they get all these laps piled on top of the track. So those guys anxiously awaiting their chance this weekend to get through all of the racing action. Since the announcement of Super DIRT Week moving to Oswego Speedway, more than 200,000 pounds of steel have been used to upgrade the backstretch area. That's going to give you an extra 6,600 plus seats on the backstretch. In excess, there's now 11,700 seats available to spectators. There's been 9,600 cubic yards of clay. That's equivalent to 600 truckloads to convert the Steel Palace over to the Clay Palace, as everybody is calling it now. Inspections went relatively smooth Monday and Tuesday. Weedsport, they hosted the 358 Modifieds on Wednesday night. It was Eric Rudolph coming away with the win in that one. Finally, kind of getting a little bit of revenge, if you will, from earlier this year when he was running up front, and then the win got away from him. Gary Tompkins ended up wrestling that one away. And in that also, it was Todd Root, I believe, who came away with the win in the accompanying sportsman event, which was a great win for him. That was a pretty good showing over there in Weedsport, trying to monitor everything all going on here at the same time. Let's see, over at Utica Rome on Tuesday, they finished up their racing program, held over from the Victoria 200, 55-lapper Matt Shepard. Hard to bet against the guy at this time of year. Hard to bet against him all year. Matt Shepard parked the car in Victory Lane over there at Utica Rome. Vic Coffey was behind him with Bobby Varon, Danny Varon, Mike Mahaney in the top five. Lucas Wolf finishing first in the 360 Sprint A main in conjunction with that event over there at Utica Rome Speedway. Danny Varon was second. Jason Barney, Dylan Westbrook, and Paul Kinney finishing in the top five. The TUSA Pro Race Car Mod Lights, Paul Klager winning that one over Ryan Harrison, Josh Kinney, Casey Sykes, Brian Myers, Mike Mullen also finishing up in the front half of that event. Let's get back to, where were we? Here we go. And Danny Varon, just getting notes in off of Dirt Track Digest. He's also one of the drivers locked into the Napa 300. Good run for him. We had a couple talking points to build off of. Here we go. just take you through what's expected on tomorrow. The two champions are going to be crowned in the Sportsman and Pro Stock Futures event starting at 1 o'clock over there at Oswego Speedway. The modified and 358 future events are going to be held at 255 for the small blocks and 420 for the modifieds. Friday night lights are playing for tomorrow night. The 358s are going through 225 lappers. The modifieds are going to race 320 lappers. The Sportsman campaigners are going to have 15-lap qualifying races on Friday. Saturday, the Pro Stocks are going to qualify at 10:30, and their entire program is being jammed into 2 days. The 358 Modified Championship is going to follow all the last chance races, which are slated to start at 11 o'clock on Saturday. 358 Modified 150, that's the salute to the troops, is set for 2 o'clock start. Satellite action is going to be at Fulton Speedway Saturday night. 7:30 start time there. The winning year in modified feature is going to be held there in conjunction with the World of Outlaws Craft and Sprint Cars over there at Fulton Speedway. Sunday, that's when all of the champions start getting crowned. 75-lap Sportsman feature is going to be at 11 o'clock. The Super Dirt Car Series top 30 qualifiers will have an autograph session at 11:45. The Pro Stock Championship goes green at noon, and then the 50-lap with 50 laps to plan distance, and then that Bud Light 300 with 50,000 to win goes green at 2 o'clock over there at Oswego Speedway. We talked about some of the upgrades. It's incredible. New electric and plumbing service has been extended to 90 campground spots. They leveled the whole thing, so everything's sitting on gravel now. There's new access roads, including Big Block Boulevard, which connect to new bathhouses and ground amenities. 2 miles of fencing were installed all the way around it. The Albany Street entrance is now closed to traffic. New traffic patterns are all over the place. You can ask all those questions if you need more details online at superdirtweekonline.com. All the action, if you don't have the opportunity to get up there, is being recorded in conjunction with Dirt Vision and Speedsport. And they're working with MAV TV to air it. There's going to be a ton of different racing packages featuring dirt modifieds coming up on the air here through the end of 2016. We're going to have 12 hours of coverage from Super Dirt Week. They're also going to have the World Finals October 20th and 29th. There's also going to be a combination of the events from Volusia Speedway Park at the Dirt Nationals down there in Florida, and that's going to have modifieds, late models, UMP modifieds, you name it. They're going to be on there. The Super Dirt Car Big Block Modified features from the World Finals are going to be an hour-long. Broadcasts from the Dirt Car Nationals are going to be the same way. And then the Bud Light 300 itself, which is scheduled again for Sunday, is going to be a 2-hour broadcast itself. It airs at 7 o'clock on November the 24th. That's Thanksgiving night. 358 Modified and Sportsman and Pro Stock mains are going to be 1 hour, airing at 7 o'clock. Those dates are yet to come. It's going to have an all-star cast for their on-air team. Ralph Shaheen, Sheehan Andrews, Dan Kopinski, and Rich Fleck reporting from the pits. Looking at some other action that's already happened, we can dial the clock back to Jimmy Phelps at the Outlaw 200. Weather was threatening, and all but 12 laps got in of the Outlaw 200. They threw the checkered flag after Chad Phelps drew a caution flag on lap 188, and then the skies opened up and it ended their night. So there was nothing else for those guys to do once the rains came through, but nonetheless, it was an action-packed feature. Jimmy Phelps came away with a win in the 20,000 to win 31st annual Sunoco Fulton Ethanol Facility Outlaw 200 presented by Studi Canton. He led the final 86 laps. Again, we talked about the race being called for rain after the halfway break. Jimmy Phelps went around Larry White and then held off Mike Mahaney and a hard-charging Alan Johnson late. He was officially scored as the leader on lap 102 and led through the balance of that 188 with 11 to go. White even drew even. Excuse me, let me back that up. With 11 to go in the first segment, Larry White drew even with leader Matt Shepard. Shepard made contact with a Uke tire and it blew the nose apart. And White was still leading at the 101 break. And on the restart, the first green flag lap, lap 102, was led by Jimmy Phelps with a power move off the top side. And he checked out. But then, little by little, as tends to happen in the Outlaw 200, the other guys started to catch back up to the leader. And Mahaney looked real good, and Alan Johnson was just as strong. But they couldn't really do a whole lot with him once they got up close to Jimmy Phelps. Mahaney was second ahead of Johnson, Chris High, Larry White, filling in the top 5. Ron Davis, the third, won his 4th Dirt Car Sportsman event of the year. Brad Rouse, Rocky Warner, some of the usual suspects, coming in second and third with Kevin Root and Shane Picor filling up the top 5. Recapping Friday night's action on Outlaw 200 weekend, Charlie Sandercock won the 50-lap late model feature. Chris Fleming was behind him by 3 seconds. Mike Maresca, John Waters were next in line with Phil Potts in the top 5. Paul Klager won by a half second over Justin Williams in the mod light feature, so that win at Utica Rome gives him 2 in a row. Joe Isabel, Joe Garofalo were followed with Casey Sykes in the top 5. Tyler Thompson won the Novice Sportsman 15-lapper, and Corbin Miller won the 4-cylinder event. Some other action that was held over the weekend, the Fall Cleanup Demolition Derby at Paradise Speedway was contested. They had over 100 cars turn out there. Strong turnout at Paradise Speedway in Geneva. Weather was a factor. I mean, it limited the ability to get the figure 8 race that they had planned in. Unfortunately, they couldn't get through that, but nonetheless, they did get all the Derby action in. Great event front to back. Jake Sumereski got the win over Cody Riley in the full-size division. James Brown, he continued his good season. He teamed up with Mike Schroeder and Toby Wise to win the Team Compact Show. Nate Flynn won the Junk Run, which is like vans, SUVs, light trucks, things like that, over Sean Amon and Wally Morbido. And Samantha Comfort won the youth feature with Tyler Bennell and Madison Doyle filling in the top 3. Outlaw Speedway news. Outlaw Speedway down in Dundee. They've got some changes coming up for the Dutch Hogue National Open, which that name is now being changed. It's down to a 1-day event instead of the 2, and the name has been changed to the Dutch Hogue Memorial, paying tribute to Dutch Hogue, who passed away, as we recall, earlier this year. So it was previously known as the Dutch Hogue National Open. Now it's the Dutch Hogue Memorial, and it's been consolidated down into 1 day, 8 divisions, and tons of money are going to be paid out on the 22nd of October as they rush through that show. Big block, small block modifieds are going 70 laps for $7,000 to win, $700 to start. It's the 7-lap dash paying $700 as well. All those figures factor in the number 7, which was Dutch Hogue's racing number back when he ran the legendary blue and gold coupes with Genesee beer on the side. This is the 3rd and final leg of the Sunoco Modified Challenge event as well. So initially it was $25,000 if somebody could sweep all 3, since Steve Payne upset the apple cart in the Fall Nationals, breaking Tyler Series' shot at the $25,000. Now each of those drivers go into the Dutch Hogue Memorial with a shot at an additional $12,500 if either of those drivers can come across the line first. Lucas Oil Sprint cars are going to be on hand. That's the Empire Super Sprint. It's $3,000 to win there, $300 to start. It's open to any 360 sprint car. Great Sportsman 30-lap main is going to pay $1,500 to win, $150 to start. IMCA Modifieds are paying $1,000 to win in their 25-lapper. 600 micro sprints are going to race 20 laps, $1,000 set aside for them. The Street Stock Empire 100 is the same day as all this. The Street Stocks go 100 laps there, $2,000 to win, and $200 to take the green. There's also more than $4,000 in lap money available, which is just crazy money for Street Stocks. The Pure Stocks are going to be out there as well. They found a rule set that they really kind of fell in love with. They liked what they saw at the Fall Nationals, and that is going to continue. They're calling them outlaw rules, so to say. 25 laps the distance, $500 to win. The 4 cylinders are going to be under those outlaw rules from the Fall Nationals. And that's going to be $1,000 waiting for the winner of the 4 cylinders. The Pure Stocks are back. They're going 25 laps and $500 to win. Friday's got practice from 7 to 10. Pit access is $20. Grandstand admission is free. DJ's going to be playing in the camping area from 7 to midnight on Friday. Saturday's gates open at 8 o'clock. Hot laps, they start at noon. Heat races follow at 1 o'clock. Track grooming is planned from 4 to 5, and then features are intended to roll off at 5:30. For all that racing we just talked about on Saturday, grandstand admission is only $22. Pit passes are $40. Modifieds and Street Stocks are going to be charged a $20 entry fee. For details, you can jump online, outlawspeedwayllc.com for more details on that one. I think we hit all of that stuff. We're not gonna bore you. I'm not gonna lie. We've got everybody and their brother right now is up at Oswego Speedway, taking part in Super DIRT Week 45, the first ever held at Oswego Speedway. And again, the announcement coming this week that is going to be back at Oswego Speedway coming up in 2017. Again, the news that everybody's sort of fixated on right now is that return to Oswego in 2017. Tim Fuller getting the pole for the 358 modified. Salute to the Troops 150 on Saturday, and then Matt Shepard setting quick time for Sunday's Bud Light 300. But lots of races, lots of breaks need to go your way in order to come away with a win in either of those events. And, of course, more racing action coming up tonight as we speak from Rolling Wheels Raceway Park. Tomorrow night, from Brewerton Speedway for the Hurricane 100. Tomorrow night, they're having the triple 20s and twin qualifying races for the 350 modified. Sportsmen are going to be racing under the lights as well. And then we moved in starting to crown some champions with Saturday's card for the 358 Modifieds, and then Sportsman Pro Stock and Big Block Modifieds all on the card for Sunday. I think we have covered pretty sufficiently everything that is at least opening Super Dirt Week. We'll try and round up a few more details for you when we're back here again in 2 weeks. This is the final 31st lap. And again, the new start time is 7 o'clock. This is the final 31st lap on a weekly basis. Final Round podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to drag racing, is going to be airing opposite 31st lap. So next week will be the episode 1 for the Final Round drag racing podcast. I believe John Bellicane is going to be back in town with us, and Jason Olmstead going to be visiting with us a little bit and talk about how their season ended up when those two went head-to-head in the last event of the year and at the dragway out there in Leicester. So we'll be catching up with those guys. But I think that is going to do it for us here tonight. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us and taking in the show. I know all the focus, again, is on Super Dirt Week, so we'll let you go enjoy the Hurricane 100 in Brewerton and the rest of Super Dirt Week, and we'll see you right back here again for the 31st lap in 2 weeks, but next week, the debut of the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast. We'll see you then. Thanks a lot. This has been the 31st lap right here on Finger Lakes 1 in Seneca Falls, New York.